The following is a transcript between Matías de Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am, me. If my base chakra is vital energy, why is it also called the root chakra? I am, because it is the point from which the connection with the earth is born, which is where much of the energy of this chakra comes from. The physical expression of the roots is your legs, and the nodes that accumulate the nutrients are your knees. Me. So the knees are constituted as one more chakra? I am, yes, the 8th chakra from the point of view of the sky, the 2nd from the point of view of the earth. This means that for the etheric, spiritual plane, the path to life is manifested in taking an idea, crown, that is turned into a purpose, third eye, for which I must learn to develop myself in experience, throat, and share myself and expand my limits, heart, to strengthen the personality that is my tool, plexus, and thus create the necessary energy, sacral, to manifest my ideas, root, to be born and to start tracing my path on earth, knees. However, for those who seek to get out of the ways of life to return to the spirit, they travel in the opposite path. To seek to free oneself from its roots in a matter, knees, in order to transmute its energy, root, to become the creator of a new reality, sacral. Me. And what information do the knees connect with? I am. With history and your ability to adapt to it. The legs are the tools of the physical body and support the greatest amount of weight, your matter. They are the ones that exert the greatest amount of pressure, the ones that generate the greatest amount of force and power, and the ones that allow you to move forward and backward. Your knees are the center of flexibility on this path, the ones that allow you to lean, to protect yourself, to exert force, and engage when you're going uphill. They are the ones that exert the necessary pressure on a descent. And above all, they are the ones that remind you that the path is forward or upward, as they are designed to help you walk, move in the environment, and to be agile when running, escaping. The idea of the knees is to strengthen your presence here and now, and to help you move forward on the path you are traveling. Me. This is why they're related to history, because they mark the path traveled by our body. I am, and not only of my own, but of everyone. By cellular memory, each step that you have taken has been recorded in your knees, and through the sympathetic and parasympathetic pulses of the nervous system, this data is recorded for future reactions. You can think of your knees as a kind of GPS that records all of the steps that you've taken. But when your phone dies, this information goes through the cloud and is downloaded in a new phone, and maybe with better applications and operating systems, but the steps are there in this GPS. This lets you see that each step taken by your ancestors is recorded in the nerve pulses that have been inscribed in the DNA. The reason is the provision of information is possible in similar circumstances. For example, climbing a ladder for the first time is difficult until your body has experienced it, and then it will no longer be necessary to think about it because the mechanisms of how to do it will be in each cell. Then, when you see a ladder, you will have that reaction. Today, you no longer think about how to rise and lower on the ladder. It just happens. You do it, and that's it. Well, now imagine the same with every decision that's been made. Where you've been, what you've done, travel or not to travel, what you eat, what you feel, the attitudes and aptitudes, the skills developed, the traumas not overcome, beliefs, denials, repressions, pains, dangers, loves, sensations, intentions, everything you can think of that has involved a decision making and has led to an action, all of this has been recorded as a pulse that, if it had been done several times, it has been mechanicized. The more times it has been repeated, Me. In other words, taking into account that the sympathetic nervous system refers to everything we do by will, such as speaking, moving my hand to write, every action and attitude that leads us to do something of our own free will, is ingested in a mechanical way by the parasympathetic system by repeating itself over and over again, that is, like breathing, heartbeat, digestion. I am. Exactly. Everything you shouldn't think about to make it happen is the product of the sympathetic action that, once mechanicized, becomes parasympathetic, and so it is inherited from generation to generation, like the very heartbeat. This is why we resemble our ancestors. That is why we have attitudes of grandparents and great-grandparents and parents without even knowing them. That is why we repeat the same mistakes or awaken the same attributes. Me. Does this mean that we must free ourselves of the attitudes to be ourselves? I am. Wrong. Who are you without these attitudes? What do you think of yourself? Think. Me. I am the end result of all of this. That is, my existence, my personality, what I think I am, is the complete product of all of the mechanical action. My personality, myself, it's practically an inheritance seen from this point of view. I am. Very well. You cannot get rid of what you are, because you would cease to be. Imagine a tree that believes that it could be a good tree. It should first cut its roots. Does that tree think it has a future? I guess not. I am. Because a tree with deep roots grows stronger, because it is firmly anchored in its present. The human moves unlike the tree, which has given it a connotation of fleeting, escaping from a point of origin. Get away from your past by going into your future. While for a vegetable, the future is up and down, for an animal, the future is ahead, where it is headed. This has created the feeling that the only way forward is to leave the past behind. However, everything in life is a cycle, and inevitably we return to where it all began. For this reason, each story you read, write, watch, or live is normally a circle, in which the hero leaves his home, and after passing through hundreds of exploits and transformative adventures, he returns home. So you are just a tree that walks in circles, but a tree at last. That is why each of us returns to where we started. The Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, is oneself. And everything that gave us life is a tool to make the path. Your family, your culture, your race, your species are roots. They all have something to offer you. The first cell gave you the heartbeat. It dedicated itself to thinking about how to generate the circulation system, so that now you don't have to think about it. The nerves had to look for 1,000 ways to find the correct one to transmit information, thanks to those cells that today you don't have to make an effort to fill. It is thanks to the conjunction of cells and bacteria that today you can digest without thinking. It is thanks to the first complex organisms that you can breathe and move without thinking. Thanks to your hominid ancestors, you know what it is home and family. Thanks to the dangers that you have learned to feel fear, and today you know how to defend yourself. All of your innate abilities are thanks to the Homo erectus and Homo habilis who took to investigating sticks and stones. It is thanks to all your direct ancestors that you feel what you feel, that you think, that you have the capacities that you have, the characteristics that make you who you are. And every step you take is an electrical pulse that charges your DNA with information for your children, grandchildren, and all future generations. Me. Well, what if I don't have children? I am. Well, your friends, nephews, or others. Attributes are shared and transmitted by pulses, and sharing is a pulse too. Me. In other words, I can't clean up karma that doesn't correspond to me, nor eliminate the history of others, because that history is me. I am. You can't. Me. But what about all those karmic cleansing therapies that clear up the past memories? I am. If you think about it, all they give you is clarity. Thus, you accept your story and you recognize and accept yourself. The idea or thought that these therapies lead to is to recognize that I am taking off the weight that is foreign, but all I am doing is giving the place that it deserves. If the objective is really to eliminate the past in order to build the future, it is literally to believe that I will obtain better fruits by cutting down the trees. Me. Of course, it's impossible. I am. It is difficult for me to run a historic marathon in a wheelchair. Maybe the chair is motorized and you beat those who are running. But it will not have been a fair race because your body did not find the inner potential and use the external one. You become invalid not when you cannot use your body, but when you devalue it by depositing it into something external that assures that it will make your life easier. That is to be invalid, which means worthless. Me. Therefore, everything that my family has lived through is what I am. I am. Tell me, what has your family experienced? Me. Well, as far as I know, my family comes from Potenza, Italy. Well, it was actually the Kingdom of Naples, and they immigrated during the War of Unification. Hunger led them to leave and immigrate to Argentina in search of a peaceful home where they could produce. There they had children, they multiplied. They were a very macho and old-fashioned family, but I discovered recently that the men in the family, all their women had cheated on them with other men. In fact, my great-great-grandmother ran away with another and abandoned them. It was even thought that my great-grandmother had also been forced by my great-grandfather to have relations with him with his father-in-law. And we even have doubts as to whether my grandfather is his grandfather's son and not his father, which is why my great-grandfather never wanted it. My grandmother also had her love, and although my grandfather seemed not to care at all, maybe for that very reason, my mother had me when she was only 17 years old, the product of a weekend meeting. My father denied me until I was 27 years old when I looked for my brothers. And on his side, my family had also escaped from the French Basque country, going to live in the Argentinian countryside, tough and rude people, in which the women of the family also escaped from their men. I am escaping. And how do you feel escaping? Me. Well, sometimes I feel like that. I am. In a chauvinistic and repressive environment in which men are abandoned by women, you decided to look for men who do not abandon you like them, trying to break that repression, being born homosexual as a reaction to the traumas of your family. But you knew well in yourselves that women had been protecting themselves from the indifference and dominance of the male. So you created an environment without men present, where women could direct their own lives. And although you never felt at home because they always had to leave to find safety, so your mother and you needed to move every 2 or 3 years, feeling the security in the move. Your trips are the reaction to escape from what you can catch, from what can catch you in the family. The non-recognition of the physical father makes you not recognize your heavenly parents, nor find your own limits. So you always seek to transcend them without waiting to finish what you started. The lack of purpose of the men in your family created nonsense in your heart to escape from you. Me. Seen like this, of course. I am. But my question is, have you decided that this is wrong? Have you wanted to delete this story? Or did you decide to use this very tool for a positive purpose? Me. I think so. That I've not denied my story. and that I've set out to make the best of it. I am. Well, look closely. You have turned male repression into your creative and sexual freedom without fear of sharing what you feel. You have turned the energy of escape into your mission, into traveling, moving, showing the world, remembering that there is no home other than planet Earth. You have transformed controlling machoism into life in which women have the last word in your decisions and advice. They are your guides. You have made your father the universe and turned the Parthian limits into the infinite expansion of the cosmos, which allowed you to return to your father and brothers with freedom. You took the possible concept that your birth was your mother's mistake and turned it into the grace of having her more as a companion and a sister on the road than as a matriarchal mandate. You have taken your grandfather's silent purposelessness and given him the greatest purpose that you could share with thousands. Tell me now, do you think that with this you have dishonored or eliminated your history? Me, no, I have resignified it. I have used their potential, their ways, to turn them into something better. I am. So we didn't have to cut down trees. We have to contemplate them, understand them, accept them, know we are a part of it. And instead of removing roots, you remove the earth and oxygenate it. You put fertilizer and some worms and minerals on it. You revitalize the roots, resignifying the strength of sustenance. Me. So this is each one of us must do to find harmony. Is what we as a network together must do with humanity, with wars, politics, hunger, conflict, racism, patriarch, the monarchy, the oppression, all of this. It must not be cleaned or eliminated. It must be resignified. I am. There is no good or bad, and even dead roots serve as compost for new ones. Everything is recyclable. Nothing can be disposed of on earth. You cannot eliminate your past, because a people or an individual without a past is a people without meaning, without the strength to build a future. What you must do is stop living in the past, resignifying it in your present, and thus create a future. Me. And how do I resignify him? I am. With attitudes and actions. It generates a new action, a new attitude and aptitude in the face of daily circumstances. Look at your common reaction in life and look for the origin of this attitude, and you will find the mechanism. Acknowledge it, and you will find its purpose. So you give it a new meaning and a usefulness, and you put it into practice by acting differently. And if you used to yell, now make an effort to speak softer under the same circumstances, educating the body until it becomes a new habit. It's like exercising. It takes time to see the expected results, but one day you will become mechanical. And you won't have to think anymore or waste sympathetic neurons because your parasympathetic system will be in charge. Me. Instead of reacting, I must act. I am. And recognize that everything you've done in other lives and in this one, and what your ancestors have done, all of it, is you today, here and now. Resignify yourself. Honor your father and your mother, all your ancestors, all your roots. Me. Well, I am the tree.